Chairman Hakkaku had it right. It was coming. But how exactly did he do it? With the aid of my previous features on the man, and expert insights on March, do I hope to provide the definitive English account of how Wakatakakage leapt from promising talent to history maker. As you might expect from an ex-World Junior Sumo runner-up with track and field pedigree too, he wins mostly through excellent balance and the beautiful forward-leaning stance he builds around it. That's what the channel picked up in 2020, and what he constantly tells himself. Hit from down low and up. Down low and up. Says his father, ex-3rd Division man Wakashinobu, he was always on the small side, and even at 11 weighed just 40 kilos, less than half of older brother Motoharu at that age, and standing 13 centimeters shorter. Thus, in the sumo ring, would he lose and lose and lose. A torrid experience, I imagine. And that's why, adds his Toyo University sumo coach Fumio Hamano, he mastered those upward-hitting charges in childhood. It was his only way to survive in the ring. And he was greatly aided by those super strong knees, which I reckon he must have been born with. They now carry his entire body like nearly no one else can claim. We've seen plenty such evidence in past reports, especially in the final third of meets. He'd lost no bouts after day 10 since last July. And despite COVID reinfection in February, Waka began March by maintaining his latest run, beating non-infected Tamawashi and Onosho with no loss of sharpness. Meisei, we have since learned, was a mere gift in this first match I saw. Armpit lax, belt seized with dip of shoulders. But day 4 brought him the man he's lately come to fear. And still does. Kiribayama bouncing upwards from the knees to hit with extended arms, keep Waka's tools at bay, and pounce on a tendency to stoop, trickily hitting across his own movement. The winning run was stopped at 8, but as Waka lay down that night, nature gave him a fillip. There is a deeper meaning behind the brothers' struggle. They are from Fukushima, the prefecture hardest hit by the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. With their local dojo wrecked on that day, Motoharu and Takakage went to live as refugees in Takamoto's Arashio stable for a month. Ever since then, their sumo success has been viewed as a symbolic ray of hope for Fukushima's rebirth. Not 5 days post-anniversary of the giant wave which wiped his town, Fukushima was struck again by a quake which smashed his father's crockery. Dreadful memories of 2011 re-emerged, and although he bridled at claims he would have fought less hard otherwise, an extra driving force did seem at work. The next day saw his left foot edge forward through hard-won ground, taking care not to outstep the right, thereby enabling this ace adjustment. Tracking Horshoryu's flight, standing firm in the parry, then flipping that left arm over to cut inside. Even the sumo chairman approved. But at that stage, no one, not even new sumo pundit Gagamaru, had him down as the first Fukushima champion since this man 50 years ago. Day 6, though, showed us the very skills he'd rely on to confound everyone. The tug of left arm after taking a right to the collar, the effortless way his foot melds with the rope, allowing knee to lock and support defensive shoves. and ability to dodge a running foray, perhaps inspired by Mitakeumi. Next came a pronounced attempt to learn from before, as he headed decisively left, where a rightward shuffle had failed last time. And on Middle Sunday, the arm block battle was a no contest. Waka's legs subsequently well set to prepare the torso for inside right and left side scoop, raising Ura's hips to defeat. "I see my hips and legs as the key weapons," Waka later said. Patience was again in demand against Ichinojo, with whom bouts tend to last. Waka's left needing over a minute to hold, then hammer through the giant's arm for a vital double grip. Before fellow Sekiwake Abi found how hard he is to dislodge. Waka's feet at just the right distance and angle to adjust, while his head swooped in for the finish. By now he was led by just one man, and only then for a day, as his bulletproof spirit helped smother both shoves and forearms, giving prime position to drive once Takayasu swerved to the left. Waka's footing retained superbly. And against this title rival he was cat-like, catching the rope on the slide, melding with it again, then propelling himself forward for a 17th win in 18. In a top fighter, do we look for power, skill, swiftness, stamina, and heart? Which of these does Wakatakakage not show? Alongside, since 2019, the vital quality of being injury-free. At a family meal in February did he finally admit, Ozeki is his current aim. But in recent times, he had failed to beat one, and now faced 3 on the spin. "I tried not to think about titles," he would later say, "but people around me began to talk, and on day 13, I tensed up." Unhelpful that was against a man hell-bent on rising first and forestalling. "The only way you can beat him," was Mitakeumi's claim. But next time out, Waka got that prized success through another of his gifts, the ability to swiftly retreat, even more than required, to slide out of assault and regroup. His titanium knees did the rest. Thus level he went into day 15, against the man who 24 hours earlier had checked his main rival, who he had just seen lose before his very eyes. This match for the title. But my nerves had increased, Waka later confessed, to the extent I cannot remember the Shodai bout. After slipping the arm block, obliquely Shodai stood, left hip far away from Waka's feared right. And the trophy chance was blown. But whereas Takayasu looked distraught, Waka felt comfort. The steady presence of Wakatakamoto, the oldest brother who'd ensured he was fed while their father worked, and who'd bought him his first cell phone on his paltry lower-level allowance. "Takamoto is the parental presence," their actual father said. Unlike with Motoharu, he and Takakage never fought. They've always gotten on. Takamoto, having won his earlier bout, was now completely focused on his job as attendant. He was so reassuring after Shodai, Takakage says. As I shaped to go out for the playoff, he whacked me on the back as usual and really fired me up. Thus did the earnest grandson of Komusubi Wakabayama, who'd forever loved his sumo, noting far more than his brothers when they'd watch bouts on TV as children, take his final steps towards the sport's top prize. While his foe was erratic, his breathing was calm, eyes fixed in the direction of his older brother. What followed was the sum of all his sumo skills, expertly described by ex-Sekiwake Aminishiki. Takayasu goes in with the forearm smash, but Takakage heads rightwards to avoid inside left and blocks with his right. They then take turns to attack and resist. Takakage looks rather like he's in a debate, always responding to what his foe puts forward with something new. He's freer than Takayasu as he has no sad title chase history, and is determined as a fisherman going for that prized tuna amid the rough seas. But then he slaps forward, and Takayasu stakes everything on the charge. And I think Takayasu's got it. There's just no way a sumo wrestler stays in from a position like that, cried NHK's Mainomi. But the ending is better described by Takakage's Yokozuna hero, Wakanohana III. I thought that pull a fatal mistake, he begins, but Takayasu's just a half step behind. He goes in with the shoulder when he really needs a grip. Inside or outside left would have done. But his feet just aren't fast enough. Cue Waka's miracle escape. If his knee gives way, and if he fails to tug, it's all over. But both winning conditions hold. What a fine example of how not to give up at the ring's edge, and one which, frankly, many current wrestlers would do well to watch. The man himself was simply amazed. Watching it back, I can't say my sumo's great. I stayed in at the edge, on spirit alone, Takakage recalls. And when I got that final throw, although I couldn't say for sure, I thought I'd probably won. The cameras were trained on brotherly interaction as he marched back up the walkway, awaiting Takamoto teary-eyed. We can't talk in the corridors, but our eyes conveyed all. Mine, the message of, "We've done it," Waka proudly says. And I'm not surprised, chimes in other brother Motoharu. For mentally, he's the strongest of the three of us, the guy who just won't be beat. Thus, history changed. Arashio Stable had its maiden title winner. For the first time in 50 years, did Sekiwake take successive cups. For the first time in 86, did a new Sekiwake come top. The last man to do so, Futabayama, would later train up Wakatakakage's grandfather. An intriguing connection if destiny exists. This win is down to all the support given by those around me, Waka affirms, ever keen to inspire his ravaged hometown. Just 5 years on from his pro sumo bow has he reached the cusp of Ozeki. And if you've followed this channel, you're likely convinced he will get there.